You've probably seen the latest Zenith release, the Chronomaster Sport. It didn't go without any debate. How does it hold up against the Daytona? Find out. Hi, I'm RJ.
And I'm Karina.
We will talk about the new Zenith Chronomaster Sport.
Let's talk about Zenith famous El Primero movement first, because it was one of the first automatic chronograph movement out there, and obviously it was used also by many brands, including Rolex. What is so special about it?
I think, like you said, it was one of the first automatic chronograph movements. I think Seiko just beat them a little bit to it, but all released in 1969. What's so special is that it's a high beat movement as well, besides being an automatic chronograph movement. It's high beat, meaning it has a ticking rate of 36,000 vibrations per hour, whereas a lot of the chronographs back in those days were much slower, but like Speedmaster, the 21,600. Rolex started to use this Zenith movement in '88. Before that they used the Valjoux hand-wound movement, and they used it from '88 to 2000. And interesting is that Rolex actually tweaked the beat rate down again from 36,000 to 28,800 to probably, but they don't disclose, I asked them in the past a few times. It has probably to do with the reliability of the movement and the consistency of accuracy, for example. Looking at this watch, the elephant in the room is obviously the Rolex Daytona. What do you like about this watch compared to the Daytona?
What I like the transparent caseback with a really cool looking rotor. And I would say that is it.
Oh, that's clear.
Yeah.
No, I like it as well. I like the transparent caseback is nice,
yeah,
because I feel that the Zenith movement is actually nicer to look at than
yeah,
the Rolex movement.
It is.
And of course the Rolex watches have a closed caseback,
yeah,
so you can't see them anyway. But I think that's a cool feature.
Luckily
because
for us.
for us. But because it's such an iconic movement, the El Primero, I think is really nice to be able to observe it.
Yeah.
So, Karina, what do you think about the similarities between the Chronomaster Sport and the Daytona with the ceramic bezel? Because obviously they very
Similar, yeah.
are very similar. Yes.
Yeah, totally. So the discussion between those two models is pretty present right now. Rolex features a tachymeter scale on its bezel, while Zenith has 1/10 of a second scale on it.
Yes.
So yeah.
That's very true, and I
Yeah.
get the discussion, and I also partly agree that it looks a lot like a Daytona with ceramic bezel.
Yeah.
If you look up the watch a bit closer, then you will look indeed that the bezel is different, the scale is different, but also the subdials, they have different colors. They grab a bit back to the early Zenith chronographs, but I think in general the watch is so similar to the Daytona.
It is.
And also due to the bracelet.
I would say that mostly because of the bracelet and the clasp.
The clasp is very similar to the Oyster clasp, and I get it why Zenith does this, because the design is so obvious. It's so close to what the Daytona does, and also all brands, including Zenith, they see the success of the Daytona,
yeah,
and how much it is in demand. And perhaps they also look at the markets, for example, on Chrono 24, where you can see that these watches are really going for crazy prices. And then, if someone doesn't know much about watches perhaps and just want to go for that look or for that Daytona, I'm actually a bit on two thoughts. One is that that person then might go to another brand like Zenith and purchases this watch because it's cheaper and it's available. And to be honest, it has a nicer movement, in my opinion. On the other hand, I also feel, but perhaps you'd think differently, that someone who's after Rolex Daytona wants a Rolex Daytona.
Exactly, and might be disappointed with this one.
Yeah, because it's not a Rolex, basically. Yeah.
But you had a chance to wear it for a while. How did you feel it, enjoy it?
Yeah, well, we have it now for a week or so, and I've been wearing it. It's very wearable, I have to say. I don't have a Daytona in my collection. I'm wearing one right now from my colleague Bert, who's behind the camera, so you don't see him. But yeah, and it wears similar. I have to say it wears similar, but the Zenith is a bit bigger. The diameter is 41 millimeters. It doesn't have screw down pushers, so it just pump pushers basically. And yeah, if you look really closely on the dial of that watch, it does show a difference basically. But in the end, from a distance, I think from 3-4 meters distance, I think people will have a hard time looking or recognizing, hey, that's a Zenith or that's a Daytona.
Totally.
And for me, that's not an issue because you buy watches for yourself. And if you love this watch, you should buy it because I think it's good quality, the price is good, the movement is really awesome. It's just not for me.
Yeah, also not for me. I think that the Rolex Daytona is more substantial, and this is what basically Rolex stands for, while this one is quite smaller and not as, iconic as Rolex Daytona basically.
Yeah, it's perhaps a bit less bulky than the
totally.
Daytona. I also have to say I am not a Daytona guy. I don't like the Daytona, it's not for me. I'm more interested into other Rolex sports watches. And if it comes to chronographs, you know what my preference is there. But if I look at Zenith, I think I would go for one of the other models, the 384 or 385. And I really have a weak spot or soft spot for the El Primero flyback rainbow model that they did in the late 90s, because that was basically my entry becoming known with Zenith. That watch was out there then, and it's really cool. It has a lot of colors, and it also has the El Primero movement with the flyback function. But it's also a bit of a quirky watch. So it's not for everyone. I think this watch is more meant for the everyone.
Yeah, totally.
And not for the collectors and enthusiasts.
I think so.
Yeah.
What do you think about the finishing and the quality of it?
Yeah, that's quite interesting because although there are similarities between the Daytona, I feel that this watch has a more interesting finish basically because it has brushed surfaces and polished surfaces, and they are a bit more obvious than on the Rolex. Also, I like the more edgy lugs, where the Rolex has more round lugs. So, and I don't like screw-down pushers. So, if there was not a Daytona, I think I would be more warmed up to it than I am now, to be honest. So in the end, it's a really nice watch, and the finish is good. The finish is nice. The dial is nice. I saw some pictures online, and people were raving about it. That one of the hour markers was upside down, but it's a prototype, and that might happen. It's not the case on our watch. You will see in the close-ups. And again, I really love the movement. I think they really did a nice job there with the decoration. And it's just
the
very
finishing is stunning.
Yeah, it's super nice, and it's a joy to look at basically, and you can't say that from of all movements out there. And I think that's one of the perks of having a Zenith El Primero movement, that you can admire it from the case back. So that was our opinion on this new Zenith Chronomaster Sport, and our opinion about the similarities with the Rolex Daytona. We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe
to our channel, and don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notification about the new videos that we post.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye.